You can't just put this hideous fence here. I demand you take it down immediately.
Madam.
I have a court order. The fence stays.
The first thing I saw that morning was yellow tape across my own porch and a crew drilling into the concrete, while cold air slapped my face. It was May 3rd, 2024, 7:12 a.m., and the smell of wet asphalt and somebody's burnt coffee floated up from the street. Our old mansion had been chopped into condos, but the wide front porch was shared. Or it used to be. Now 10-foot metal fence panels were going up, right down the middle, bolted to the floor. On the other side, in a neon pink tracksuit, stood Karen, our HOA president, waving a clipboard like a sword. She pointed at me and yelled over the drill. "Stay off my side. You're trespassing." I just stared, numb, because there was no my side and her side. There was just ours. That was the moment it hit me. Karen fenced off the mansion porch without a permit. Too bad I am the judge. She'd taken a common space and carved it up like she owned the whole building. Her little dog barked at my feet while the metal posts screeched into the concrete. The crew leader shrugged when I asked about a permit. "Lady in charge signed everything," he said, nodding at Karen. Karen smirked and waved the HOA rule book, the one she always misread. "Exclusive use area now," she said. "Board voted." If I didn't know the law, that might have scared me. Instead, it made me very, very calm that I tried calm first anyway. I walked over, hands up. "Karen, we need to talk about this. The porch is a common element under the bylaws." She stepped closer so I could smell her strong floral perfume. "Then file a complaint, Judge," she said, dragging out the title like an insult. That told me she knew exactly who I was. The other board members lined up behind her, eyes down. When I asked for copies of the vote, she said the meeting was private. That night, at 9:00 p.m., I heard shouting outside. Timeline item 1, April 5th at 4:27 a.m. false trespass call, I later wrote. Because on that earlier date, she had already called the police on my visiting sister for sitting on a porch chair. The officers had looked tired. Now, neighbors slipped past the new fence, heads low, like walking by a crime scene. I decided that night I was done being quiet. I promised myself I would use only proper channels. No yelling matches, no petty junk, just the system I used every day. I started with the basics. City code for fences, HOA bylaws, county records for the building plat. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. I knew that line by heart from the bench, but now it felt personal. I filed a public records request on the HOA. A week later, the public records clerk slid a heavy folder across the counter. The file landed with 63 pages. I took it home, cleared my kitchen table, and started digging. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. 11 neighbor complaints about Karen never making it onto the board agenda. 2 invoices for fencing, paid from reserves, dated before any supposed vote. The plan came together simple and sharp. Step 1, Building Inspector. I emailed him clear photos of the fence bolted into historic stone, along with the plat that showed the porch as common area. In our city, you cannot turn shared space into private property without a permit and unanimous consent. Step 2, call a special HOA meeting using the rule Karen always quoted at everyone else. Owners could demand it with signatures from more than half the units. By Saturday, I had 21 of 30. People signed in the laundry room, in the parking lot, whispering like we were planning a heist. I wasn't. I was planning a hearing. And hearings? That's my home turf. The day of the special meeting, the air was thick and sticky, and thunder rumbled somewhere behind the old trees. Karen strutted onto the porch, now split by her ugly metal fence, carrying a gavel she bought online. She started her speech about safety and crime and how I was a threat to the community. That's when the city inspector's car pulled up, lights flashing amber against the mansion's brick. Behind him, 3 neighbors lifted their phones to record. The inspector asked for her permit. She handed him her HOA rule book like it was law. He flipped through, unimpressed, then held up the city code instead. No permit. Common area. Violation. He slapped a bright red stop work notice right on her fence. The crowd actually gasped. One kid laughed out loud. The public humiliation didn't end there. I passed out copies of a short packet I'd made. On the first page, a simple heading, Timeline of Incidents. Under it, Timeline item 1, April 5th at 4:27 a.m. false trespass call. Timeline item 2, May 3rd at 7:12 a.m. illegal construction on common porch. Next, pages showing dues spent on the fence, about $8,000 from our reserve fund, without a full vote. Neighbors read, then looked up at her. Someone said softly, "You did all this with our money?" Phone stayed out. One neighbor was live on social media. I could hear comments pinging. In less than 10 minutes, the mood shifted. Karen's power wasn't fear anymore. It was a joke. The real authority flip came a week later at City Council's code hearing. I took the day off from my courtroom and sat in the audience like any other citizen. Karen tried to blame the contractor, the board, even me. But the council members had the same packet and the inspector's report. One of them actually used my favorite line: "Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted." They ordered the fence removed at her expense within 30 days and fined the HOA, with a note that the board could sue her personally to recover the loss. Back in our own HOA meeting that night, owners voted her off the board 16-2. She stormed out, red-faced, while people openly clapped. I didn't have to bang a gavel. The community did it for me. Now the porch is open again. The old stone steps look wider without that stupid fence, and you can see straight across to the street where maple trees line the sidewalk. On warm evenings, kids ride scooters back and forth, no metal bars in their way. Mrs. Lewis from Unit 3 brings out a plate of cookies and asks me how court was, then laughs and says, "Not your court, I know." Last week, a new neighbor set a fern on the porch rail and asked if it was okay. I said, as long as everyone can enjoy it. Peace feels like that fern. Shared. Quiet. Green. I still keep the binder on a shelf, just in case. But most mornings now, all I smell is coffee and fresh air, not fresh concrete and fear. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.